But then if you say you don't know them, then you're a fraud.
Well,
Like
you
if I
say-
say I daven somewhere and there's someone else who davens there regularly and I don't know him, that means there's something wrong with me.
Okay, so you want to know how? You want to know? Here's what you do. You don't give information that can tie you down to other people. You don't say, "Oh, I daven at I've davened in Yuk," and they go, "Oh, well, do you know Muskin? Because how would you not know him?"
Right,
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So you can't pin Rebs down. I'm too slimy for that, right? Because they go, where do you daven? I daven in L.A. No, really, which shul do you go to? Well, I go to a number of shuls. Yeah, I go to a number. The number is 0. Okay, so it's like, they can't pin me down. They don't know. Nobody knows me, right? You know what it's like. They see me on the internet once a week, and they go, "Oh, Rebs," and they have their pants down on the floor. So that's all they know from me. I don't get pinned down anywhere. And I don't get caught in a lie, and I don't get caught in the truth. And I think in your case, getting caught in the truth is worse than getting caught in a lie, because then they can pin you down and they can say, "Oh, our friend is sitting right next to you. Tell me about Levi Ford. What's his story? I want to know. Is he Baal Tshuva? Is he a ger? It's like I've heard he's been in porn. Like, how big's his cock? So there's all that going on. That's like, all right, whatever.
It's a pleasure living in community.
Right. Okay, so let's move. I made my point about that. It goes against the Torah, folks. It's all evil. It's wrong. Do you have anything more? We talked about the wiener thing. We talked about, you want to talk about gay pride? And all this is gay pride? No.
Oh yeah, not just gay pride, but transgender and transsexual and bisexual Heritage Month in Los Angeles. So what are you doing to celebrate? Because I know what I'm doing is I'm drinking a smoothie every morning with Metamucil. It's a small gesture, but like a nice orange smoothie. It's really fruity.
You know what I'm doing for gay and Pride Month?
Yeah, what?
I'm sitting here next to you. I'm making you feel at home. Okay.
Just because you did it once doesn't mean you're a sucker.
All right. So we just wasted an hour and 20 minutes of everybody's lives. Would you like to talk about the Torah portion?
Yeah, why don't you talk about what you have to talk about?
You want to talk about my part first?
Yeah, talk to your part first. I'll get a nice drink.
Wait, where are you going to get your drink?
I'll just go to the tap. I like tap water.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just...
Okay, LA water is nasty at the tap. Okay, you sure about this?
Yeah.
All right, so folks, this week's Parsha is called, we're talking about the Parsha, and this week's Parsha is called Beha'alotekha. I want everybody to say that. Beha'alotekha. It's a big word. And the famous thing about this week's Parsha, there's a few famous things, but one of them is that the Jews were in the desert, they demanded meat. And you got to put yourself in the place here. What was going on? Jews are in the desert, and they're living on man, from manna as they call it in English, was falling out of the sky, and it tasted like whatever they wanted it to taste like, and they ate that every day. It's like, you'd say, "Oh, I want, filet mignon," and they would eat it, and it would taste like filet mignon, but it still wasn't enough. They said, "No, we've got to have meat." And they said, like, you took us all the way out of the desert, you took us out of Egypt, and then we're all just going to die here without meat. We demand meat. So obviously that was a huge demonstration of ingratitude because they were freed from exile. That should have been enough. So God told Moses that if they ate meat, the meat that he would give them, they would all be killed. So the problem, and we all know the story, right? He created the quails, he sent the quails in,
Right.
and whoever ate it died, right? Okay, so the problem, however, was not that the mere feeling of dissatisfaction that the Jews had when they were complaining that they didn't have what to eat, they didn't have meat, but that they acted on it by openly complaining. And we see that Jews complained all the way back, right? You might have noticed that Jews do tend to complain about things. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah, they do. Okay. Negative feelings can be dealt with. So someone feels dissatisfied with their lot, with their portion in life. Like maybe you feel a little bit dissatisfied because you're a person with tremendous talents and you're living in a shoebox.
Hosting a show with you.
Hosting a show with me. It's working for $146 a month. Which doesn't even fund his stockings fetish. All right, negative feelings can be dealt with, but actions are more crucial because a person is only punished for a bad action, not a bad thought that's in Kedushin 39b, that's in the Oral Torah, it's in the Talmud, which we celebrate the giving of that tomorrow night. Why? Because if you say to yourself, Rabs, I hate this. I don't like the fact that, I don't have any money and God's not giving me, He's not taking care of me, that's one thing. But then to openly complain about it and say it out loud, that takes it to a whole new level. So the next question becomes, why does God provide for them just to punish them afterwards? Because He could have just, what was the point of that? He gives them the quails and He says, anybody that eats the damn quails gets punished. Here's your meat, you eat it and you die. So Rabbi Shimon explains in the Gemara that it was in order to demonstrate that God is capable of doing everything, okay? Even providing food miraculously, okay? So it's like, here are the quails. You see that? He's demonstrating that God can do anything. If you ask for meat, here's the quails. That it's better to be punished, but not doubting God's power. Because even the people who died and they saw the quails knew before they died that God had created this miracle. So it's better to die and be punished, but at least you know God's power, instead of provided for it, but thinking that He's limited. So if He gave them the quails and He didn't kill them for it, then people would say, oh, well, Okay, so that's important. And you got to know that God's the all-powerful. When God provided the food by giving quails, many people saw this and ate the quail meat, assuming that because they were given this miracle that God had forgiven them. No. Then they were killed while the meat was still in their mouths. The Maral explains that it was because God doesn't like it when people ask Him to change creation around through miracles for them. This is something that I would point out to Christians. Right? They're always saying, oh, God, send me a miracle, send me a miracle. Jews don't act that way. It says, Al tisbach al hanes. Don't count on a miracle. You got to do the footwork, and you ask God to help you out to do the footwork. Like, I want to make the difference. God, give me the blessing so that, 300 million people should read my blog. That's what your prayer should be, right? But it shouldn't be like, God, make a miracle, and that, they replace Anthony Weiner with Luke Ford. Right? You can't ask God for these stupid things, right? That's all right. So there's that. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so in the Parsha, it talks about you can't go before God dirty. There are all these purifications, different points in the Torah. It talks about cleaning your garments and washing and purification and bathing and water. So cleanliness is next to godliness is the Torah virtue.
Well, that's also in part because it's a poor translation in English.
Well, they don't talk about water and bathing and fixing your garments and cleaning up. It's
impure. Impurity is not a physical dirtiness. When a person is tame, which is the language you're discussing, it means that they're ritually impure. It means they've stained their garments. But which garments are they? They're spiritual garments. They've done damage to their soul. They've dirtied their soul. The way to rectify that and mitigate that is through the mikveh, but it's not a cleansing. You're not taking a bath in the mikveh. You're not going in there with bubbles and you're going to do your hair. You go in the mikveh, you go in the water, you come out of it. It's like going in the ocean is a mikveh, right? It's not to get clean; it's to get spiritually clean.
But it's also about getting physically clean. Like they say, one of the reasons that Jews didn't die as much in the Black Plague of the 15th century was because they did Nachilat Yadayim. They washed their hands more often than non-Jews. So if you're washing your hands before you eat a meal of bread, your hands are going to be physically clean in addition to the spiritual benefits. If you're taking a dip in the mikveh.
But that isn't the intended purpose. That might have been
it's a
side effect. It's a side effect, but that's not what.
And then it also talks in the Torah specifically at various places about mending your garments, cleaning up, bathing in water. These have both a spiritual and a physical meaning.
You gotta be neat. You gotta be clean. You gotta give your mom a break from her washing machine, and all Jewish children will be starting their own Seder B'Nikayim.
So standards versus compassion in Numbers chapter 9 verse 7, these men say, hey, we were taking care of some dead people, we were contaminated by being around, the dead bodies. We want to be able to give this Passover offering,
right.
Pesach Sheni, but what are we going to do? So it's got like a classic case